welcome back with another banger. It's the React Files. Hope you're having a good night. Let's get straight to it.
Police are called to a disturbance at a residential building. They capture a dark entity on their body cam. The woman they're called to is visibly upset. She was the victim of 17 years of abuse by her husband. On their second call out to the residents, the woman calls out, "I don't know what that is," as if she saw or knew the entity was there, and tries to run past the police. Watch this.
Hi.
Yeah, she just gotta go.
How are you? Do you have your ID with you?
I don't.
What's your name?
Irene.
Irene. What's your last name, Irene?
Bejard Wilson.
Can you spell that for me?
Big Disney princess, just so you know.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Who are you?
I'm the voice of Pocahontas.
Really?
Yeah, you're gonna find me in your thing right now.
Why would I do that?
Because I am a 53-year-old Native American woman who has had enough. That's it. I don't know what that is.
Bob?
I don't know what that is.
Stop!
I don't know what that is.
Bob?
I don't know what that is.
Stop!
That was pretty creepy. Shout out to Nightmare Fuel. I didn't see the entity at first. It was pretty shocking to see. To hear her say, "I don't know what that was." Maybe the officer didn't see it. Man, things went left real quick.
So much has happened in the past 24 hours, it's insane. Trump announced that US residency is now officially up for sale. They unveiled this brand new visa program which has never been done before, called the Gold Card. It allows you to work in the US, gives you a route to citizenship, and it costs $5 million. Trump says that it will bring in wealthy, world-class global citizens. Next, Chile declared a state of emergency last night after a blackout plunged almost 19 million people into complete darkness. It affected almost the entire country. Hospitals, prisons, and government buildings were switched to backup generators. The internet and mobile phone services went down. You couldn't withdraw cash. National Guard forces were deployed onto the streets, and a curfew from 10 p.m. till 6 a.m. was put in place. Next, Trump signed a price transparency executive order, which forces hospitals and health insurers to disclose healthcare cost details, and not estimates, but actual prices. Next, phone theft in the UK has got so bad that the government has given police new powers to enter properties without a warrant if tracking apps like Find My see that stolen devices are inside. In fact, this is just one of a whole package of new laws passed by the British government in order to tackle the country's knife crime, shop theft, antisocial behavior, cybercrime, etc. It's become one of the biggest legislative updates for policing in decades. Next, more than 250,000 Canadians have signed a parliamentary petition to try and revoke Elon Musk's citizenship and passport. If you didn't know, Elon is a triple citizen of South Africa, the United States, and Canada. Next, a mystery illness in the Congo has killed more than 50 people only hours after they began feeling sick. The Africa office for the WHO said that the outbreak began after 3 children ate a bat and died within 48 hours. CNN report that the still unknown illness has symptoms which are commonly linked to known deadly viruses, such as Ebola, dengue, Marburg, and yellow fever, but that researchers have ruled these out based on tests of more than a dozen samples they've collected so far. Next, and lastly, you ever wondered what happens if someone dies on a plane but you're still halfway there? Yesterday, on a Qatar Airlines flight, a woman collapsed in the aisle and died. Cabin crew tried to move her body towards business class, but, quote, she was quite a large lady and they couldn't get her through the aisle. So instead, they had to place her corpse, covered in blankets, next to this couple from Australia for the remaining 4 hours of the flight. As always, I'll keep you guys updated.
Wow. Now that was a lot. Past 24 hours has been crazy. Shout out to Chile. I hope their power's back on. I couldn't imagine being on an airplane 4 hours sitting next to a corpse. No way. Rest in peace. My condolences to the family. You're gonna have to put that body in the bathroom or something. Just chill and lock the door. I don't know. Ain't sitting next to me.
Is this a strange case of pareidolia? Or is this a djinn filmed at Mecca? Sometimes the LCD TV screens pick up on otherworldly entities we otherwise wouldn't see with the naked eye. Reptilians, for example, use liquid crystal suits for camouflage. the same liquid crystals used in LCD screens. This is why you sometimes see the glitches around people on screen, especially when they glitch in dark brown and white. It's the camouflage being exposed through the LCD screen. Watch this.
Strange footage, a bit of a mashup of some strange weird activity happening around El Popo volcanoes and other ones quite similar, of strange anomalous objects flying in and out from volcanic ranges. Okay, again, look at this piece of footage from 2013 that was caught on a volcanic live cam, and a strange object flies directly into the volcano. And those of you that are not too familiar with these parts of this side of TikTok, we've reported so much footage on these strange happenings in and around volcanoes. And there's a lot of speculation and theories about things and what they are and why they're there, okay? So, on a deeper rabbit hole level, you know, if this is something of ET origin, or things we don't quite understand, look at this orb. And we've seen orbs so much, mate, of these metallic ball-like structures that appear here, there, and flipping everywhere. Alright? These are not something new. Okay? And there's talks of these plasmodial beings and all these sort of phenomena that appear around volcanic areas where there's lots of energy being emitted, things of that nature, lots of power, eruptions, and we also see these things around earthquakes, tsunamis, giant magnetic storms, or whatever of that nature, and these like either plasmoid orbs appear floating around, lapping up all the loveliness of the entirety of whatever's going on there, or we have strange craft flying in and out. So who knows, you know? And people that live inside the volcano? Live under the earth? Is it a passageway in and out? Is it a place to recharge and reset themselves? I'm not sure. Or is this something more man-made, you know? But I don't know. I don't think human technology can withstand some of the environments that these things subject themselves to, whether it's intense heat, okay, in the core of the magma chambers of volcanoes, or the deepest parts of the ocean where intense pressures and things of that nature happen, okay? And again, bits just freaking flying up and out. Look, watch. Okay? Crazy orb just goes across the screen. Look, here it goes, look. Disappears off. What is that? I don't know. You guys tell me. I thought this was interesting.
Well, I can't tell you what it is. Shout outs to Interstellar Discussion. This footage is very strange.
Bitch.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Why isn't that guy going?
Well, you better hope the hell he don't get us.
Oh, he better not get out that car.
Oh, look, he is about to fight.
Oh. These in Memphis don't
No,
play.
don't be calling nobody.
Mama, where am I supposed to go? Oh my gosh.
Roll down the window. So
if he come over here, Shani, you better drive off, and I'm not playing with you.
Don't go through that.
He's screaming.
Yeah.
Police.
The police. There's a guy with an axe in the
Shiny.
road.
He's hitting somebody's car with it.
He's gonna hit you if you just keep on.
6-9, the keys to the Alpha and Omega, and Revelation 21.6. 369 fatty acids, alright? There's 3 alpha-linolenic omega acid. That's the alpha and omega. It's a chemical. 369 acids, it's 3 alpha-linolenic, 6 gamma-linolenic, and 9 delta-oleic. So this is 3 alpha-linolenic omega acid. That's why it says, I will give of the fountain of the water of life freely to him who thirsts. This is the alpha and omega. This chemical even forms a J. See right here at the bottom how it says 15? That comes together to make 6. That 12 is going to come together to make 3. And that's going to be your 3, 6, and 9. So all these acid 3 alpha-linolenic, these are all the different types of omega-3 right here. But even the 6 and 9 omega acids, they're all metabolized in the crista of the mitochondria. This is your energy center, your light center, where all your life force is produced. That's the 3 alpha-linolenic acid being extracted from a plant. That's how it interacts with your cell. So now this is the crista of the mitochondria, okay? You can see this is the inner fold membrane, right? That's where your positive force builds inside of this cell, right? And this is where your life force is made and produced, right? In the matrix. Everybody that's stuck in the matrix right now. This is going to be your cell membrane electron chain transport. 144,000 because each cell has a potential of 140 to 150 millivolts. So this is an article right here on the mitochondrion. See right here it says the membrane potential is about 140 millivolts. They're never going to tell you it's 144 because milli is Latin for 1,000. That's 144,000 millivolts. Its matrix enzymes metabolize fatty acids, okay? Which is the main source of electrons for the transport chain. The inner membrane is known as the crista. It says the number of crista is 3 times greater in the heart muscle than it is in the liver cell. Now that's why in Matthew 5:8 it says, blessed are those pure in heart, because they shall see God, because the number of crista is 3 times greater in your heart. Alright, so this is going to be your crista terminals in your heart. This is going to be the positive force on the right side, the positive terminal, just like a car battery. Your synode is going to be on the other side. This article right here talks about the triple omega fatty acid clinical influences, okay? This is all for your health right here. And that's why this article says the omega-3, 6, 9 fatty acids, they help reduce cardiovascular disease. Now, every single cell acts as an access gate. This is Zion's gate right here, or an ion gate, a star gate. This is on the surface of your cell membrane. Right? There's all different kinds of ion channels down below. We're going to look at the voltage gate right now. Alright, so the voltage gate is what allows the positive charge to pass through the cell. On each side, there's going to be positive pillars. This is what is known as the pillars of Christ, and this is how we heal at a cellular level. Now, the top of these pillars spin when electrical force is applied to it. So we're going to look at the top of this protein. This is a voltage-sensing membrane protein. This was in every single one of our ancient cultures before that man took it over. It's going to be your connection to the universe. That's why that lines up with the Polaris star system, right? So you see how it lines up with the Big Dipper, and this was in all of our ancient cultures. This is an ancient book right here. Germany took the Templar cross right here, and this Thracian right here, that's your 32 degree. So we have alpha-linolenic, gamma-linolenic, and delta-oleic. These are all different frequencies and wavelengths that apply electrical force to your cells. Your olive's going to be the alpha, your bet's going to be the beta, the gamel's going to be the gamma, the dalet's going to be the delta, the theta is going to be the tet, okay? And this is why Hebrew language is perfect energetic code, and this is why the ancients spoke Hebrew, because it literally lines up with the frequencies and the star systems in our cells. And that's why it was said that the kingdom is inside of us, and our body is the original temple, because it's all cellular energy. So a couple people asked me, well, what can we do with this information? Well, I went and opened up a company that's based off of scripture and your 369 acids. It's 369 acids plus essential oils. This is going to protect your cells basically at a cellular level and help you heal. This is all cellular light healing. I use Nikola Tesla's 369 based off of Jesus Christ's teachings in the Bible. So I own this company by myself.
That was deep. He brought the receipts. Shout outs to NDO 369. That was very fascinating right there.
This footage comes from the state of Guanajuato in Mexico. The OP states that he managed to capture the famous Black Charo, a terrifying entity from Mexico, which is said to be the devil. It is said that this apparition usually manifests itself on top of a horse, and the first damsel he sees takes her with him. The security camera outside of a shop captures the strange figure as it passes by. Watch this.
Now this one was really weird. Creepy at the same time. Shout out to Nightmare Fuel. Whatever was riding that horse was kneeling sideways. Did we just watch the devil ride a horse? What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below.
Okay, so there's this crazy story about a woman who died and came back to life, and she could prove life after death. This woman, Maria, basically had a heart attack and actually died. She flatlined. And when she went out of her body, she went above the hospital she died in and saw a blue tennis shoe, a worn out one, on the roof. She obviously was resuscitated, told the nurses and doctors what happened. They went on the roof and found the blue shoe. And I can tell you why this is possible and how you can actually harness this magical power without dying in reality. You could have telepathy. You could have psychokinesis where you can move things with your mind. And it all has to do with the fourth state of matter, plasma. So plasma makes up 99% of visible matter. As above, so below. It also makes up everything invisible. It is just a finer substance, almost like an etheric plasma, and it's intelligent and living in response to our consciousness. It has not been proven in science yet, but it will. Just watch. This is the substance of our thoughts, of our emotions, and it allows you to receive and send information beyond time and space. So telepathy. Thoughts are impressed into the plasma field, and with training, you can learn how to pick them up. During surgery, you can see because your consciousness is in the plasma field all around you, not in your body. The link in my bio, I have a new book coming out about this. You could sign up or donate to my campaign, if it's still going by the time you watch this. It is all about plasma intelligence and how you can hack the universe. You can even see into the future. But here's the caveat. When you see into the future, when you learn how to do this, they're not fixed visions. It's a spectrum of possibilities that you're plugging your consciousness into and viewing. And they're shaped by your beliefs and intentions in the current moment. You can change future outcomes by changing your present beliefs. It is that simple. If time doesn't exist, there's no future and no past, even though there is. But the most powerful moment is the present. And I'll go into this too in my book. Your consciousness actively shapes the plasma field and what you perceive as reality. Your beliefs program this plasma. And if you believe in limitation, you create it. If you believe in possibility, you unlock all those. As cliche as it might seem, I have discovered your heart is the key. Your heart and your soul. If your desires come from your ego, they won't align with this plasma force, or you'll be in a whole world of pain when you manifest what you realize you don't really want 10 years later. But if these desires come from the deepest part of you, your heart and soul, because you know how to align with what you actually want, life is magic. Even when it sucks, it's still magic. So my first book will unlock some of this, and then I'm going to write 2 more books about it. Once again, the link is in my bio. This is real. This is where the future is. This is where the present is. And the coolest part is you get to have your own relationship with it. No one can tell you how to do anything. I can point you to it, but this is all about you and your connection to this field. And that's what's so special. No one can take it from you ever. No one can tell you how to do it or how to have it. All you have to do is know thyself. And how do you do that? You connect with your heart and soul, your inner self. And that will actually connect you more to your outer reality. Know thyself was the key all along.
Yeah, man, you gotta know your heart. Gotta know what you want. It's been the key all along. Shout out to Dana Kipple. Your perception of reality could change your future 10 years from now.
I'm scared. What the hell? You saw when you were sitting.
Where do human souls come from? Some people may think that they come from heaven. Well, that's not true. But you did exist before you were born. So when God says stuff like, "Before I knit you in your mother's womb, I knew you." Well, he's not just making that up. You did exist before he knit you a body in your mother's womb. Now, that's the most practical thing you ever heard. Observable 1 billion times over. People are still going to argue with me over, but watch. Right now, you have a human body. It's pretty big. As far as size and scale goes of things creeping, crawling, walking, or flying on this earth, you're pretty big. Not as big as a whale or an elephant, but you're not as small as a little grasshopper either. Compared to a single-celled organism that only has 1 cell for a body, where you got billions of cells for your body. the single-celled organism only has a little bit of mass. You have a lot of mass compared to that. I'm not trying to insult you or anything. And the reason we're talking about mass is because that really affects how you perceive the passing of time. Time is relative, and this isn't something we're guessing about. It's something we can test and repeat that test and observe the same effects over and over and over. It's consistently observable. That time is relative, and how much mass you have affects your perception of its passing. Time does not pass the same for everything all the time. As a matter of fact, time passes very differently for everything all the time. For instance, photons of light have no mass, and so they experience no time. You know, the scientists say that the light traveled billions of years across the universe to go into your eyeball so you see it in the sky. Now, while deep time is totally unnecessary in the equation, it's just not, you just don't need it, so. Other than that fact, doesn't matter how long it took the photon to get here, the photon doesn't have any mass. It experienced zero time between leaving and arriving. It's always just right now for the light. Get it? So according to the photon, it's both where it started, where it is now, where it's going, all at the same time. Just to put some things into perspective, that time is very tricky, and it's very related to how big you are. In relation to mass, not necessarily to size. But they're usually interconnected. Except it is true that sometimes some very small things are more denser than some very big things. Happens that way. Another example is the grasshopper. Dude only lives 1 year. And any way you cut the cards, it is 1 year as humans count the passing of time. Like regardless of how the time is perceived to pass, the grasshopper only gets 1 revolution around the sun, as the Globers say, right? So the human and the grasshopper both agree. A grasshopper's lifespan is only 1 revolution around the sun, okay? But because he's so small, that 1 revolution around the sun was a long, full, 80-year full life experience. He didn't witness it going by super fast like a human did. He witnessed it go by super slow like a grasshopper does, so that his 1 year perceptually is the same as your 80 years. His lifespan to him lasts as long in the perceiving as time as yours lasts to you. Because mass distorts the fabric of space-time, bends it, so that things have a longer path to travel to cover what would be the same distance if the fabric was just flat. Mass doesn't just bend the fabric of space-time, it stretches it out, creates more space, and therefore takes time longer to travel. This is called gravitational time dilation. I didn't make any of that up. This is called classical physics and relativity. If anybody made it up, it's Einstein. Blame that dude. So I said all that about mass and the fabric of space-time because you have not always had this much mass. Matter of fact, you lived a whole life as a single-celled organism before you ever had a human body. And by whole life as a single-celled organism, I'll say more. We are 3-dimensional beings walking around in the 4th dimension of time. And I mean we walk on the 3rd dimension of the earth through the sky, which is the 4th dimension. That breeze blowing on your face, that's the sky. That's time you are walking through. Or sitting as it passes you by. Where you're sitting decides how fast or slow it passes you by. I mean, at the bottom of the building is one thing, at the top of the building is even another. And though the difference is minuscule, I mean, it's proven. The faster you're traveling, the slower time passes for you, even if according to your perception, the clock on the dash moves as slow as it always does. You're aging more slowly than everybody else that's not traveling as fast as you are. It's relativity. That's what it means. So when I say before you ever had a human body, you lived an entire, full experience of a life as a single-celled organism, even if it was very quick. From our human perception, from the single-celled organism's perception, it was slow and arduous, 80 years long. But God is far above the 4th dimension of time. Time passes far differently for stars in the 5th dimension than it does for humans walking around in the 4th dimension. Stars are immortal from our perspective. And then above that is paradise, where the throne of God is, where he sits and looks down on time. It's not as if time doesn't pass up there, it does. but from those very large beings up there in the third heaven above it all. A human life is a wisp and a vapor. Zip! That's a whole human life. 80 years right here. From the vantage point of God's throne, and anybody around that area up in paradise, right? A human life is this right here. Zip! Did you miss it? It's this fast. Zip! Generations I just displayed of humans being born and dying. Zip! Zip! There's another generation. Zip! There they went. Zip! There they get. Time passes differently depending on your position in reality for certain, and also your mass for certain. Passes differently for light than it does for darkness for certain. Not only that, but how fast or slow time is moving waxes and wanes like everything else. Stretches out and contracts, right? It's time and space. Stretches out and contracts. When space stretches out, time stretches out with it. When space contracts, time contracts with it. Gravitational time dilation. Not making it up. Read that in the scientific papers that have been both peer-reviewed, published, and also on top of that. Is the mainstream science, right? You don't have to agree with it. You do what you want. But when I can test and measure and observe for myself, I can get on with. Before you were ever a human, had a human body at all, you had a body made out of one single cell, and you lived an entire life as such. You were first formed in your father's loins before ever your mother's womb. And you were born first from your father and had a whole life after that, didn't you? But it was so fast from our vantage point means nothing to relativity. You lived an entire experience of a life, a whole hero's journey, start to finish. You were born as a single-celled organism from your father's loins. And God did know you. As a matter of fact, He gave you instructions on what to do. And by following them, you entered the egg, and the promise was true. What promise? He said you must be born again. He said stuff like, I go and prepare a place for you, right? God made every one of us a promise. In a previous life we all had as a single-celled organism. Let no person say they never asked to be born. Hey, guess what, y'all? You raced for your entire life and beat out millions of others to be born. Ask for it. You competed for it. You gave your whole life in search of it. A myth, a legend, a dream. Surely only fools pursue such thing as being born again, the other single-celled organisms said. Now, Jesus said to humans, except a kernel of wheat, except a seed, fall into the ground and die, it abides alone. But if it dies, it brings forth much fruit. Except a seed go into the ground and die. And right there is where it happened. That is where you as a single-celled organism died to be born again, giving your life to the instructions and the promise in hope. The zinc explosion, your body got scattered all over the inside of that egg. That egg that called to you like Holy Jerusalem calls to Christians now. That is not a sperm entering the egg. That's a coronal mass ejection. Looks to me like the egg calling. Dang, what does the earth look like? That signal from the sun keeps hitting it on its journey. Just to tell you, all things give this example right here, even grow in a garden. But there is the sun and there is the earth, and what does that look like to y'all? I mean, but every one of us on earth followed God's instruction according to His promise and hoped to be born again, and it happened. Sperm souls only get to become human souls if they follow the instructions, enter the egg, and die. And that is the moment where a sperm soul ceases to exist and a human soul begins. God knew you in your father's loins and in your race to the egg. He was cheering you on. You did it! Do it again.
You did it. Now do it again. We did exist before we were born. Shout outs to Dead Hidden. This guy has taught me more than school has ever taught me.
In the day. Bradley, aka Face Department of Government Efficiency. I'm not comfortable with you wasting tremendous amounts of taxpayer resources, miss. I'm gonna have to put a thumb drive into your computer to see what you've been up to. Oh, I don't need consent to put a thumb in. Not in Trump's America.
Okay, excuse me, sorry.
We'll set up a command center right here.
And that's a wrap. Hope you enjoyed tonight's rabbit hole. If you like this video, why don't you check this one right here. Thanks again. Till next time.